Hi, my name is Juliana Lima Vasconcelos. I'm an architect. I study in Brazil, and now I work mostly in the fields of interior design and design. And I'm here to talk with Minded, with Yuri. Very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Juliana. For those that don't know, we're both Brazilians, but we're going to do this in English today so everybody can follow along. How are you?
I'm good, traveling a lot. Now, those weeks I'm spending in Belo Horizonte, which I keep my main office here, but I spend like only 3 months per year here in Brazil, usually. Now my base is in between Paris and London. So, but it's very nice to be here. I feel very productive with my team because I keep my creative team here. So it's nice to be like full time in the office and developing the creative part with them together. So it's very exciting to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you, and I want to go ahead and start from the beginning. And I was wondering something that you worked this year that was phenomenal, and it was, what if your morning coffee become a full body sensory journey? And it's safe to say that's exactly what you accomplished with the Lavazza installation during Milan Design Week. Can you tell me how did your, the source of pleasure into a 360 inspiration design?
Well, this was something very that came from a very deep place in my feelings, in my mind, my memories. So it was very true. So when they come up with the briefing, they wanted something 100% coffee. They were about to launch a product that I didn't know, I didn't see on that time. So I came up with this idea of the circle form, which is very pure form, and I wanted to create this place where we could like meditate, pause the time, and um, celebrate life and pleasure, and connecting these ideas with coffee. So the first idea was the rounded with the fountain representing this as like a ritual. And as for me, is when I have my coffee after lunch. I pause the time and I just connect with the present moment. So this is a very special moment for me. So I want to bring this in a more ritualistic, meditative place. And to get into this place, I created like a corridor where we could disconnect from real life and real world, especially during Milan Design Week, where everything is so intense. So to get this sense of the meditative place, it was needed to have this corridor before the first part of the installation, where we could start feeling the sense of coffee. And we had this sound designer that creates some sounds so we could have the real experience. So in the first part of the installation, we had the sounds that recalls to the pregnancy. So in a way, we listen to that and we feel connected. We have some unconscious memories coming up. So in a way, you go deeper in the experience, connecting with the sense, with the sounds, and with the textures, because we had coffee textures everywhere in the walls and on the floors. So then you get into this rounded place with the fountain, representing the source of pleasure and life, and connects with the way of life of the Italians as well. They have this dolce vita way that they have the pleasures in every moment of their lives. So I wanted to connect the spiritual and the pleasure and meditative place. So it's a mix of these important things in our lives. And the third part, we had this very bright place, like a laboratory, in very futuristic, where we were showing the new products that it's very like before and after the tab. So it was a huge moment for them. So I was very happy to represent, to create this installation for them.
No, it was phenomenal. We heard great things about it. A lot of the work has to do with materialities and experiential design. For those that they're not familiar with what it is, can you tell me what is experiential design and how did you define it?
I think when we put more senses into design, we kind of connect deeper with the audience. So I think we create a sense of belonging. We instigate memories. People can connect more. They can see when we bring like materiality and when we can bring sounds, and it's a whole experience. It's much more than a beautiful piece of design. So I think this is much more stronger, and in a way is like a mix of architecture and design and art and sensibility and music. I'm connected. I'm connected with all of this. I have a really deep connection with sounds as well, because I study music for many, many years, classical music. So I'm very sensitive to sounds, to music. And architecture has this power of the space and the way people interact and the way light interact and the way it is, where it is, when it was built. So architecture has this tremendous force in the city and in people's lives. Architecture can create different dynamics, different interactions between people. So when you put this all together, you create an experience. So this is very strong. And materiality as well. When we choose a material, I think my work could grow when I really went back to my roots and really put importance to where I came from. So when I started using these natural materials, I was very into the countryside in Minas Gerais, and Brazil is a very bright, colorful, and happy place for me, and very connected to earth and to wood and to natural fibers. When I really saw this and bring this to my work, I could grow, So this is very important to me to bring these roots from where I came from. So, yeah.
Now it makes completely sense. Now working on a brand collaboration, like with Lavazza, how did that conversation go in terms of how did they find you? And what was their early days conversation? Did you immediately had an idea what you wanted to do and how long it take to you to figure it out? And how was the process until you were able to see it all realized?
They came up through Maria Cristina Didero, the curator. So Maria Cristina, she came up to me with this possibility and with a very, very short deadline.
How short?
Like a week
Wow.
for the first idea. And it was a possibility. It wasn't 100% yet. And Maria was related to Pari di Vitali agency. So she reached out and they gave us like a very short deadline to come up with a concept. And I was in Paris and I was like really alone, because when I'm in Paris, I don't have my team around me. So I thought it was a very nice project to be part of. And I really tried to be very silent And I stay like 3 days only thinking in a very silent way. And the first idea of the fountain and the circle was already there in the first 3 days. So after that, I was developing the layout and the third part of the launching of the product, but which I think the most important part of the experience came up in the first 3 days. I was like thinking in a ritual. I was meditating to create this project. So it came up very easily, I think. Of course, the project took a few months to came up to life, but the first idea, it came in the first days, and I showed the first idea, and then we were just developing it. We didn't change it at all.
Now, curious thing, and I want to kind of to give us a little bit inside information is that when you're given opportunity to pitch an idea like that or develop an idea, how much did you know ahead of time in terms, because you can come up with something very extravagant or something very simple. Did you have an idea in terms of budget, space? What were the information that was provided to you to make sure that when you spend some time developing it, you were within the realm of possibilities?
Yes, we had an idea of the size of the installation because we had an idea of the courtyard, the size of the courtyard. So this helped a lot. So I wanted to create something the bigger that I could do in the size that they provide me. So I really wanted to create something that had a architectural power as well. So and during the following month, they changed the possibilities of places, but so I also did a smaller version, but it wasn't so strong enough. So at the end, we came up with this big courtyard of the Palazzo del Senato. I was very happy because it's one of the most important places to do an installation during Milan Design Week, and it's beautiful and it's huge. So it has this impact, the architectural impact, and we had sufficient space to develop these 3 steps of the installation in a way that we really could feel. So that's it. I had an idea of size and possibilities of the place, but the briefing was very simple. I didn't know much.
So from the time they first reach out to you until the time that you open it, how long was the whole entire project?
They reached out September last year, and we finalized the project around February because it needed to be done during March. I mean, they needed to build it very quickly. So they built some of the infrastructure, the fountain, some things they were built outside the site. And I think they have few weeks to build what they needed to do inside. So it needed to be very fast. I think 2 weeks they had to do everything inside.
Incredible.
Yes.
You know, often when I talk to a lot of people, when they embark on those large projects, they always kind of finding something new about themselves. Did you have some sort of experience that when you were done or throughout the entire process, you kind of rediscovered or find out something new about you and how you approach your work?
Yes, I think it was a turning point for me to I started my career doing architecture. I studied architecture and urbanism. And at some point, I was missing some creativity in the kind of projects that I was doing. And I have this more artistic soul, so it wasn't enough for me. So I started going to interior design because the scale is smaller and maybe I could do more things. I mean, so I went to this path, and then to design, that I really could find a freedom, artistic freedom. But at the same way, I think architecture has a huge impact, the way I create things, even the design pieces, the furniture pieces. Architecture is here inside of me. And for me was so I've been doing more interior design, but architecture is always present in my life, but I'm not doing so many architectural projects, but I still do, and I like it. And in a way, it was a turning point of the power of the combination. I found out that this combination for me was the apice, was the most complete, how do I say, the most complete way that I could express my creativity, combining. So this was very strong for me, because it was my first. I did some scenographies. I like to do some environments that create a drama, I like this. But this installation was more than this, because there was all the senses, the sounds. So for me, it was a turning point to realize that this is where I can express my full self, my full ideas.
It makes completely sense. Are you someone that needs to control everything? There's a sense, a lot of times when you talk to architects and even interior designers, product designers in general, they have this very fixed mentality that they need to control the environment, they need to control the situation. Or you're sometimes allowed things fall into places. You're allowed to give space to projects, to design, to perhaps find its own voice without interfering too much. Is that something that works for you?
Yes, I can say that I'm a very flexible person, even if I have a very strong creative signature. I know I have my style, I have my ideas, but my personality is very open and flexible with people, with projects. So I always interact a lot with the clients and with the space. And if I'm doing an architectural project, an interior design project, I respect a lot the architecture, and I don't try to control everything. I don't have this personality. It's not me. So I think this brings different projects. I think it's interesting to see, because I'm able to do different things and different aesthetics, because I'm not, I don't go really into one signature or one aesthetic, I'm very open. So each project is one for me.
So talking about this idea of to be flexible, how much have your point of view, your vision, your work has evolved since you begin practicing to today? Is it noticeable to you, the evolution, or is it more subtle?
Yes, for sure. When I see my first projects, I still like some things, but I can see a lack of maturity, and knowledge and research, because when I do interior design, for example, I do a lot of research, historical research, artistic research. I just don't place things that go well together in terms of forms and colors. I like to go deeper in the narratives of the pieces that I'm placing. So when I started, I didn't have sufficient knowledge. I had an aesthetic sense, but now I'm still learning. I'm addicted to research and to find new things. But now I see I have more knowledge, and I can bring things that makes more sense, or connect more with the person that will live or is hiring me. So I think I bring more context to the projects, historical or artistic or emotional. So it's a better result, subtle. It's subtle, but it's a better result.
It comes along with confidence as well, I'm sure, right? And that's something I want to touch base with you in the aspect of developing confidence on your voice and your aesthetic, but also in your process. The more you do it, the better you become, and you kind of find things that work for you and it doesn't. Were that at one point in specific or a project that you realize perhaps was in the early days for you or quite not hasn't quite come there yet, that you realize I got this. I'm good at this. I'm actually very good at what I do.
That's tricky to say that I'm very good. But what I can say is that I'm really into what I do and I'm really passionate. And I would do what I do for zero money. So it's just, it merges with myself. It's like, I feel I came to life to do what I do. So it's very powerful for me. And of course, I have recognition, and I see that people like my work. Not everyone, but I see I have an audience, which tells me that maybe I'm in the right way. And there is a few projects, design and interior design, that I felt that I did it well. Like
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
like the giraffe chair, for example. It was an idea that came up very quickly, like in 2 days, I think. So it was like an inspiration. Some pieces I don't put so much effort, it just came up. And it was something that makes my feelings, and the feminine, the sensuality, simple, and at the same time with the personality. I have a few projects that I did and I feel it's like, oh, this is a good project. And some interior designs as well that I think it's a blend that brings me happiness, and I see the place as an harmonic place, with the mix of this that I was telling, the sensibility for art, for history of the place or the pieces. So there are a few projects that I feel that I got it.
Well, talking about recognition, we met personally in Paris during the CDA Awards, where you were a nominee, and eventually you won the prize for, I believe it was Best Commercial and Cultural Interior Design. Now,
Yes.
looking back at that evening, when you heard your name, can you remind me a little bit what came to your mind and what was happening?
I was there and I didn't know. and I was like, if I won, should I know before? I didn't know. So I wasn't expecting, because I was in a doubt if you should tell me before. I didn't know how this would happen. So when I heard my name, because there were a lot of really good works as nominees. And I was like, oh, I mean, that project was a turning point for me as well, because I think it brought the really the sense of the brand, and merging with my aesthetic. But it was one of those projects that I really think that it was strong enough, in terms of materiality and the way the story was told. So when I heard my name, I was like, oh no, I wanted, but it was like a really big, good surprise. I was very happy.
It was lovely to see you up there. Yeah, it's something that we decided in the early days developing the CDA was that nobody will know until the evening of the ceremony. So everybody's there not knowing what's going to happen. It was a sense of a surprise. Now, nowadays, in the world we live in, we're so accustomed to know things ahead of time, and there is very little space for excitement and surprises, and things like that. So I'm glad that
No, I
you
was like,
you
I
were able to
won, I
experience.
won. It was so good. And I
That's
kept this
lovely.
feeling for many days after, like, it
That's
was really
lovely.
nice.
What about now? I mean, now you had a very successful, incredible exhibition at the biggest design week of the world in Milan. You clearly are expanding your reach, more opportunities coming your way. What are the things that you're focusing on, or things that you want to, tackle from now on?
I'm working now on very special retail projects at the moment, and hospitality as well, some real estate. So I'm very excited with this, um, the way things went the last years. And of course, with Milan, after Milan, I really want to be more into this multisensory experience and architectural um, installations. So there is a possibility for this year, but not confirmed yet. But I'm working with a lot of projects right now, few in Europe, few in Brazil. So a lot of work. So I'm
A lot
between
of
like Europe and Brazil, like all the time.
How are you choosing the projects? I mean, I'm assuming you're in a good position that you have plenty of opportunities coming your way from different disciplines, and between, of course, you also develop your own furniture collection and product design. Are you prioritized by timing, by perhaps goals or things that you want to accomplish in terms of brands that you want to collaborate with? What are the things that you said sometimes, you walk away and give opportunities kind of to present themselves? Do you start making the decisions how you're going to spend the next 6 to 12 months working on something specific?
I'm very focused, and I always had like a strategic mind. I always uh, I always grew in my career planning my things. I always did like this. I'm open to new things that can came up, but I always did this plan and strategic way to get things done. Um, so in I do my furniture, so I have my furniture brand. And in the beginning, we were focusing only in producing our own furniture and selling our own furniture. But now we are open to collaborate with in other brands. So I think this is a nice moment to do this. Before, I didn't feel that um, I wasn't in the place that I wanted to be. Now I can choose and negotiate in a better place to do those partnerships. And I'm very happy that 2 years ago my sister joined my company as a partner, so she can run the operational part of the business. So I'm really focused on the creative part and relational, I mean, relations. So I'm really focused on what I do better, what I'm good. So now I'm and in the architecture interior design projects, I, they they really need my energy and my attentions. So when you ask how much I uh, divide my time, the interior design and architectural projects consume much more of my time than the design, because the design sometimes is like an inspiration. It came up in, in a few hours. And of course, the hard work my team is doing, like talking to the suppliers and prototyping and putting this to life. So I'm not so much involved with this anymore. So of course, the interior design projects, I'm always with my clients and deciding everything, and I see every details. I have an amazing team, but I see everything before.
I want to ask you about the design process with the furniture and also all the idea of opening yourself up to collaborating with other brands and designing new collections for them as well. When you look at what's going on in terms of materiality, which sustainable material will define the coming decade?
That's a good question. Um, I work mostly with wood, but we choose a certificate wood and most new forests. So we choose very well the wood that we are working on. And I also work with stainless steel, and stainless steel is very sustainable in Brazil, the way the manufacturers does. Um, and there is some experimental materials as well. There is some recycled plastic that I want to be involved more. That I'm doing more research to start doing new things. So this is something that we now it's a must, in design. We cannot avoid this subject.
Yeah. Do you feel Brazil is a good country where you'll be able to find enough options for sustainable materials,
I
or
do.
yeah,
Yes, I think there is a movement of developing materials as well in Europe. I met few people recently that like laboratories only developing new materials, and I'm starting talking to those laboratories to think in new ways of doing things with new materials, sustainable materials. So this is something that I just started a few months ago to do this research, like really new materials. This is very new for me. I always look for the way the material came to me, like as I told, the stainless steel, the wood. But now, really recently, I started really going to these new materials. But I didn't do the pieces yet. I'm just starting my research.
is there any, of course, beyond the benefit of those materials and the new technology involved, is there any pushback in terms of any problems, perhaps difficulties that can come along with using some of those new materials that perhaps are not quite mainstream yet?
Yes, that's why it takes longer to really start using new materials that we don't know much how it will evolve with time, and especially if we are talking about art, something that no one's going to touch, it's a safer place. But if we are doing a chair or something that people will use, we need more time to see how things will develop. That's why it takes longer to come up with this.
Yeah, it makes completely sense. On the topic of technology, I want to kind of ask a quick question about AI and how AI drive future of design innovation at your studio, and if you're using the technology at all.
We are using, but not for images, not for the images, not yet. But I'm using every day for helping elaborate ideas, or having less effort to researches, especially for research. Now I cannot live without. We can go much deeper than Google, for example, in our research, so save a lot of time. So I'm using on a daily usage, and my team as well. But we didn't start using. I think one of my team members, sometimes they do something on the images, but we did not create. I know architects and interior designers that are really telling a prompt and having images come up. We didn't try this yet. We are still doing old-fashioned way.
Old-fashioned way works too.
Yes.
Are you optimistic about AI in the industry because it is a disruptor and people might be concerned about in terms of authorship and all of those things when it comes to that. But besides, of course, all the ethical that come along, overall, are you not optimistic about the possibility of integration of this new technology in the industry?
I think we have to, we cannot avoid, and I think it's better to bring it to our practice. Otherwise, you're going to be like apart from this new world. Uh, and I think we have to accept and to try to bring good things with it. We cannot run away from it. And of course, I know we are going to save time. Some people are not going to use interior designers. Some people are not going to use graphic designers anymore. But of course, AI is not able to do the same things that we are. So there
Yeah.
is a limit, I think. A lot of people will do things by themselves with AI, but I think we will keep doing what we do, integrating AI in our practice.
Beautiful. I want to talk a little bit about your upbringing. Growing up in Brazil, in Belo Horizonte, for those that don't know, it's a very beautiful city, and but it's very special, very unique to Brazilian culture as well. What it was like for you, and how was your childhood, and at what point in your life, in an early age, did you kind of figure it out that being an architect or an interior designer was even an option?
Well, I was raised in a family, more traditional one. I'm the youngest of four kids. Um, I'm very close to my brothers and sister. We are very close. Um, I I grew up studying classical music. My grandma was a pianist, and I was very very close to her. And I started saying that I always liked to draw. I wasn't so good, but I always liked to draw, and I always said that I was going to be an artist, even since I was like, I don't know, 5 6 years old. I s- I used to say that I was going to be a painter, and at some point, I think since I was 10 or 11, I started saying I was going to be an architect, and that never changed. Never changed. Um, my sister, she did architecture, and she's older than me. So I think when she started saying she was going to be an architect, I started saying that I was going to be an architect. So that's the way it was. At some point, when I was a teenager, I wanted to do fashion design as well. But there were no, I don't know. At the end, I end up doing architecture. I never thought about interior design on that time, even during my studies. But after around 5 or 4 years after I graduate, I told you about this feeling of I was doing a lot of multifamiliar buildings for real estate, but not super luxury. So my clients came up with the floor plan, and I just had to see the laws and work on the functionality of the building, but wasn't so artistic. So I was missing this. That's why I end up going to the interior design. But the idea of architecture was there since I was 10 or 11 and never changed.
When you talk about your grandmother, there was a very sweet tone that came out of your mouth, and I want to kind of explore that a little bit. Is what was your best memory of your grandmother? Is she still with us?
No, she passed away 20 years ago, and it's funny because I still think about her, and sometimes I dream about her and her house. When I dream that I'm at her house, is very comfort. It's a very good dream. I feel that I'm connecting with her, and she was very. We had a really really close relationship. I used to go to her house and brush her hair. I used to lay down on the sofa and listen to her playing piano, and then we switch. She used be in the sofa and listen to me playing the piano. So I have the best memories. And I remember we used to have lunch at her house every Sunday. And every Sunday I wanted to sleep there. But my mama never allowed, because on Monday I had school the next morning. But I always wanted to stay there. I used to sleep there on the weekends when I was a child. So I have the best memories. It was like my second home.
How beautiful. Juliana, before I let you go, there's 3 questions I ask everybody on the show, and it's time for you to recommend us a few things. I need you to recommend us a book. It can be one of your favorites or something that you read recently, something to watch, a movie, a TV show, or perhaps something to listen to. And last but not least, a guest. Who should we have here next on Minded Podcast?
Wow. Wow, let me think. There is a book that I don't know the title in English.
Just do it in Portuguese and then we'll figure it out.
Let me check. Just a second. É do Vargas Llosa, O Paraíso na Outra Esquina. The Way to Paradise, Mário Vargas Llosa. It's Paul Gauguin history with Flora Tristan, his aunt. So it's these two stories in parallel, in different times, connecting in a way. So it's a journey to his life and the tropical inspirations, his relationships, and the way it goes to his art. I started looking to his art in a completely different way after this book, and the way it was written was something like really deep and sensitive. It was one of the best books that I've read. To watch, oh my God, I have a list of movies that is hard to say one. But one of the latest that I like was the Almodovar one with Tilda Swinton. Talking
And
about
Julian Moore, right? I forgot the name of the
talking
movie
about
right
death. So this is a beautiful, sensitive movie, and always beautiful for the eyes, because I think Almodovar's aesthetic is something like really particular that I love. And what is what is next?
Who should be our next guest?
Oh my God, that's a good one. Someone that you know, Marc Lachey.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of Marc, so I think it will be a good one.
Yes,
I love his work.
We did a whole thing with Minded in the City where we were at his and Sophia's apartment in Paris, and it was wonderful. And they were so great. They're great people. So for sure,
they are very nice. Yes, they are very nice.
So Juliana, A.D. Hillary once said that Juliana Vasconcelos, one of the most important contemporary architects of the moment, who is bringing Made in Brazil to the world. And I think I would have to agree with them. I want to thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. I know in Paris during the CDA, we kind of just was a busy evening. Everybody was celebrating and moving around. We didn't get to spend a lot of time, but hopefully we get to, connect more likely in Paris than in Belo Horizonte, because
for sure
it seems like we're more often we're in Paris than anywhere else. Be able to connect and spend more time together.
That would be a pleasure. It was very nice to be here with you, Yuri. It was what pleasure. Thank you so much for the invitation, and hope to see you soon in Paris.